Rajeev Chandrasekhar, if I could just come to you now as somebody who is a long-time Bangalorean. What does this really mean for the city going ahead? Because there's a certain image associated with Bangalore, a certain international cosmopolitan image as the IT capital of the country. Can the city recover from this?
Also, just to add, Maya, ASSOCHAM has estimated that almost 21 to 25,000 crores has been lost, Rajeev Chandrasekhar, just in this one day of violence.
Yeah, but Srinivasan, I want to go back to the question that you asked Ramya. And you know, there is something very, very mystifying and mysterious about yesterday. The government goes to the Supreme Court and says we cannot implement the order because of fear of violence. I mean, that is what the government says in front of the Supreme Court. So they obviously knew that there was going to be some sort of a law and order problem. There is a legitimate question that needs to be asked to the Chief Minister and the Home Minister. What were they doing when they went to the Supreme Court, knowing fully well there is going to be this kind of vandalism and unrest? Why did it take 9 hours for the police to do what they are doing now so effectively? But the police is they're completely implementing law and order today. Why did they go to the Supreme Court yesterday and say we cannot control violence? There is a lot of this contradictions in what the government has done. I am amongst those who believe that this was not spontaneous, this was organized, this had a political motive behind it to create chaos, create vandalism, and then go out there and say
what was the political motive?
The motive
organized by whom?
And organized by whom, Rajeev? Who do you think is behind it? What are you saying exactly?
No, so look, Srinivasan, if the government goes in the morning to the Supreme Court and says we cannot implement the Supreme Court order because of violence, it suits them well to have 8 hours of violence. Let me just say that. Now, I don't have evidence that the government did it. I don't know who in the government or which elements in the government did it. But yes.
No, that's a serious
but it
allegation.
Suits the government perfectly fine.
We should get Ramya a chance to respond. We should get Ramya a chance to respond to that. Ramya, respond to this suggestion that a conspiracy theory actually, that the government itself engineered the violence so they can turn around and say, look, this is exactly what we told the court. If you push us to release the water, there will be violence.
I doubt that, and you said it's a conspiracy theory, and I think we should leave it at that.
Okay, you want to leave it at that.
I don't think.
Maya, let's also bring in Mohan Raman.
Leave it at that.
Okay, well, we'll of course, we'll come back to this. But if you can just bring in Mohan Raman, well-known actor from Chennai. Thank you so much for joining us now. Mr. Raman, you on Twitter have repeatedly sent out several tweets I saw in the past 24 hours asking for peace, asking for members of both states who live in either state not to be targeted. But why is it that so many other members of the film fraternity, whether it's in Tamil Nadu or in Karnataka, feel the need to play this chauvinistic card? It's happened in the past as well, it's happening again. Why is that?
I don't know. Most of my colleagues whom I have been interacting with have all appealed for peace. In fact, even now, all I'm telling, requesting, pleading with my friends across the border in Karnataka, don't open the dam, open your hearts. First, open your hearts. And to the people here, don't wait to receive water, wait to receive them, receive their love, receive their understanding. What is this? It is because this situation has become political. From politics it went to legal, and then it's gone on and on and on, and for 3-4 generations. And these riparian state problems are not going to be resolved that easily. But we as individuals have to sit across.
Okay.
Now the only answer you will find is when you interrogate those 300 odd people who have been arrested in Karnataka and the people here who have been arrested, interrogate them and find out who they are. I bet you they are not farmers.
Yes. Yeah.
Who should be affected by Cauvery? Whichever side it is.
As the DGP
they are not the farmers.
As the DGP was telling me earlier. Yeah. It is pro-Kannada groups, but also mixed with a lot of vandals, a lot of antisocial elements of the term you use, not necessarily just pro-Kannada groups. the Kannada film fraternity did take a big part in the protests here, with several leading actors actually taking part in these protests. But getting the legal angle in, I mean, a lot of this battle has been fought out on the streets, of course, but also in the courts. Now, Sanjay Hegde, an advocate, has represented Karnataka for many years. He joins us now. Mr. Hegde, among the slogans being shouted by protesters, apart from slogans against the Tamil Nadu government, there were slogans also against the legal team in the Supreme Court, the feeling that it had been a failure of presentation of Karnataka's case. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that is absolutely wrong. One thing I'd like to clarify is that I have not handled the case for the last 6 years or so. But having said that, I must assure the people of Karnataka that they have probably the best orchestrated water lawyers in the country. They are people who have grown with the case for a long time, and they are led by somebody who is almost the Bhishma Pitamaha of the legal fraternity. It is not as if those who lead the team want the case. They are people who are doing us a favor by continuing for the state, and they have fought for this cause for a very long time. The little things, sometimes you win in court, sometimes you don't win in court, and there are skirmishes that that may be lost. But as far as the battle is concerned, as far as the long, hard battle is concerned, Karnataka has substantially won. But these are not matters for legal skirmishes and battles alone. These are matters which require statesmanship and, as somebody else put it, an opening of hearts. These, I have said it on another channel, that some of the best statesmanship was shown by the late MGR, who, I am informed, whenever such a problem came, he used to come to Karnataka, meet the Chief Minister of the day, have a hearty meal and say nothing, and he would go back. The Chief Minister of Karnataka then would understand exactly why he came. He would tell his engineers, whatever is possible, do it. These are things which are handled with tact, with courtesy. We are neighbors.
All right.
We are brothers.
Let's get a response from
violence gets us nowhere.
Let's get a response from Ramya, and let's get a response from GVL Narasimha Rao as well. On the point about Karnataka's stellar performance that you spoke about, Sanjay Hegde, the Supreme Court didn't seem to agree, by the way. They felt that the contention that that your lawyers made, that violence was going to break out, and therefore they couldn't release the water, came in for some strong criticism. But anyway, coming back to Ramya, all right, coming back to Ramya and to GVL Narasimha Rao. Ramya, is there a lack of statesmanship that we're seeing both by Mr. Siddaramaiah and by Jayalalitha? Why not try to end the acrimony and try and be responsible, mature politicians?
You know, in the past, Karunanidhi and S.M. Krishna sat across the table and sorted it out. And so did Deve Gowda also. I mean, he too, you know, made an effort. I think Jayalalitha, in the past, she has once, I think she boycotted the meeting, and once she even walked out. And right now, Siddaramaiah is, the Chief Minister is more than ready, and he's written her a letter, and he's also asked for a meeting, and she hasn't responded on that side yet. So I think it is very important that, you know, she being the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, and if she has genuine concern, she must, you know, initiate a dialogue, because our Chief Minister has already asked for a meeting.
Also, also, speaking of lack of response to Siddaramaiah, as you said, Siddaramaiah has written to Jayalalitha, but he's also written to the Prime Minister asking for a meeting of Chief Ministers. There was no response to that. He's also written to the Prime Minister wanting an appointment. He was hoping for an appointment to meet the Prime Minister tomorrow, but that is not really happening. If I could ask Mr. Narasimha Rao also, does he feel that the Prime Minister is not really being responsive to Siddaramaiah?
I think that would be a very unfair comment to make. A Prime Minister, I think this is a interstate dispute. Supreme Court has already spoken on this issue. Supreme Court has given an order and also modified the order. I think Centre would be happy to discuss with them, but this is a matter that has been, this is a vexed issue which has been pending for 130 years. So certainly I think it is best that this issue is resolved through the good offices or through the aegis of the Honorable Supreme Court, and both chief ministers have a responsibility not only to maintain law and order in the states,
But
but
GVL,
also
I just
take
want to ask
effective
you,
measures to...
GVL, I just want to ask you, I do want to ask you though, yes, you're right. I mean, the Prime Minister did come out and ask for calm. But is the BJP also trying to play politics here by taking the Congress government over the coals? I mean, if the roles were reversed, you may well found yourself in the same position.
No, but Srinivasan, you see, we have a party unit in Tamil Nadu, we have a unit in Bangalore. So certainly the local people have their emotions, but it is eventually these contentious matters have to be resolved through a process of law. We are a constitutional democracy. We cannot allow individuals to take law into their hands and then create violence and use that as a pretext to pressure the court. You cannot pressure the courts. This is what Honorable Supreme Court has stated. So I think,
getting a view
cannot
from
pressure the courts. And both the chief ministers have to take effective measures at their level first.
GVL, okay, just
Because
one second, let others come in.
For the center, both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka are like two children. The center is not going to take a position in favor of one or the other.
All right, just
so
a second.
Getting a view from the other child, crossing the border again into Tamil Nadu. Mohan Raman, your thoughts on this? Do you feel that one state has an advantage? Do you feel that things are being played? What's your take on how fair the whole situation is?
And also this allegation that Jayalalitha is somehow being the more immature of the two.
Yeah, I'd like to definitely take that comment first, which is the action or the inaction of the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. I think she is caught, between the devil and whatever else you want to call it, because there is a Supreme Court order. There is a Supreme Court order which has been modified, and so she has to just wait for it to be implemented. Now, if she goes and sits and dialogues with the Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka, will it not amount to saying, okay, Supreme Court, you gave the order, but we'll talk it over and see if we can find out a workable solution? In which case, then, doesn't it tantamount to insulting the Supreme Court? No. You let us not play politics in this whole business.
I don't
know who is right, who is wrong. No.
Right.
I don't know if it is correct on the part of us to sit and pass judgment over any political party, Congress, BJP, DMK, ADMK, you name it, or for the last 130 years. They have tried 130 years to inflame the issue and get more votes on either side by, playing to the rabid pro-Kannada, rabid pro-Tamil forces, etc., etc.
Okay.
Let's first forget the whole
Rajeev
thing.
Chandrasekhar.
So, someone totally neutral has to take it up.
Okay, some would say we have a lot of neutrality. We have the Cauvery Water Tribunal, we have a Water Commission, we have a Supreme Court. Anyway, go ahead, Rajeev Chandrasekhar.
No, Srinivasan, I think it's important to understand the context in which all of this is happening. The tribunal is already awarded, as passed its verdict in 2007. The governments are in appeal in the Supreme Court. And it is the interim order of the Supreme Court that we are now talking about that happened yesterday and a week before that. So for the Prime Minister or the government of India to intervene in a matter that is sub judice before the Supreme Court means both the parties agree to withdraw their case from the Supreme Court and then go to an arbitration process elsewhere. You can't have the cake and eat it too. I mean, you are in front of a judicial... No, wait. Let me finish. I accept that you're a league mind. Let me finish. So my point here is that the focus should be on the Karnataka government's legal strategy, and the Karnataka government's legal strategy I have maintained for the last several weeks has been flopping and has been misguided. Now, I think when you're in court, you have to win in court, not go out looking for alternate forums to sort out a dispute between one state and another state.
Okay. Very, very briefly, right at the end, Sanjay Hegde, what's the option now before the Karnataka government? I mean, they do still have to abide by the timetable of the release of water, don't they? I mean, that was it, 10,000 cusecs?
Another 12,000 cusecs until the 20th of September.
12,000.
That has to happen.
12,000.
12,000, right. That has to
That is
continue.
absolute.
Yes?
That has to happen, and normally Karnataka, to the best of my knowledge, has always abided by it, except in 1 year,
Yes.
where the Supreme Court then had to take up contempt proceedings. But the fact of the matter is, one thing I'd like to say, it is not as if the Supreme Court can determine everything. If parties come to a solution amongst themselves, the Supreme Court will be the first to bless that solution that comes
Right.
up. It is not as if the Prime Minister intervenes and sorts things out, mediates, arbitrates, and both parties agree that the Supreme Court say, no, you have taken away our jurisdiction. The Supreme Court is there to decide when it is absolutely called upon to decide. All that has happened is interim orders for brief periods pending the crisis. We need not make too much of a he won, I lost kind of scenario out of that. The larger interest of the state
that's a
and
fairly-
the country demands that there should be statesmanship.
Okay, that's a very statesman-like comment to make. JVL, I think we're completely out of time. I'd love to have allowed you the last word. I just want to end with some information which Maya can share with the people who are watching, particularly in Bengaluru and outside. Maya, that tonight, as we said, there is a sense of streets being deserted, but looking forward to tomorrow. We still have 16 police stations under curfew. Are schools going to be opening up? Is life going to be getting closer to normal?
Government schools will be open with police protection. Private schools have been asked to take their own individual decisions.
Right.
Some will be open, some will be closed. The buses are back on the road. The metro service is likely to be up again. Bengaluru needs to get back to normal, and hopefully it will tomorrow.
All right, well, we certainly look forward to that, and we'll be keeping a close eye on all the political stakeholders involved. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will continue to focus on this big story. From Maya and me, for the moment, it's goodbye.